I can hardly handle it by ourselves.
One watch the ball game.
No, both of us.
Listen, Rob, try not to expose it.
In order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation by Reverend Hanson.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here tonight. Let's pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for this beautiful day we've had. As the psalmist said, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And we ask that tonight you will bless our city council, give them wisdom, wise discussions, help them to make good decisions. And we ask you to keep watching over our city officials, our law enforcement, the fire department, the EMTs. Bless them and their families. And we ask you to please watch over our health care givers to keep them safe and their families. And we yearn for a time we'll get a vaccine for this COVID-19. But until that time comes, give us patience and understanding. Continue to bless this community and help us all to be people of justice and sympathy and goodwill. We thank you for all of your gifts, and we bring it all to you today in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus. Amen. Thank you again.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Smith. Smith.
Here.
Shark. Allen.
Here.
Barrington.
Here.
McCardle.
Here.
Dosher. Rice.
Here.
Sabers.
Here.
We have a quorum. Approval of consent agenda items. Items appearing on consent agenda may be removed by a city council member for discussion at the beginning of formal agenda items. Is there anything you wish to remove?
Nothing. It should be. Hello?
Try this one.
Test. There we go.
Okay.
Just to make the comment on the surplus equipment and the date in September of that and the big city auction, just to give ourselves a plug for that.
Okay.
Michelle?
The surplus auction will be held on September 10th at 5:30 in the same place that has been held in the past, in the airport hangar building.
Okay. What?
Anything else?
The auction is actually in the city storage building on Airport Road.
The old Fisher
Yeah.
building.
Yep.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. McCardle to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address any of these? Roll call, please.
Allen.
Yes.
Barrington.
Aye.
McCardle.
Yes.
Dosher. Rice.
Aye.
Sabers. Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Citizens input. If you need to address the mayor and members of the city council on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken. Is there anybody who wishes to address council? Any items council wish to address? Okay. Hearings on the following alcohol licenses. On the application of the Corn Palace Shrine Club for a special event liquor license located in the Masonic Temple, August 28, 2020, for a wedding.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Sabers. Discussion?
And did you say August 29th?
29th.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. On application of the Corn Palace Shrine Club for a special event liquor license located in Sonic Hall on November 6, 2020 for the Sportsman Classic.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. On application for Logan Luxury Theaters doing business as Starlight Drive-In Theater for a new retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota wine located at 4601 North Main Street, Mitchell, South Dakota.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Entertain a motion for the City Council recess, sit as the Board of Adjustment.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Barrington, second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to set the date for Board of Adjustment hearing for 9/8/2020. Juan Contreras has applied for an oversized variance of 2296 square feet versus 2,000 square feet is required to construct a detached garage at 901 East 4th, legally described as lots 9 and 10, Block 13, FM Green Addition, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, property zone R2, single family.
Move to set the date.
Second. Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Smith. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Stephen Eilers has requested property legally described as west 56 feet of Outlot 7A, southwest quarter, section 15, township 103 north, range 60 west, city of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, 126 west 15th Avenue, to be rezoned from R2 single-family residential district to highway business-oriented business district, and he's requested front yard variance of 20 feet versus 25 feet under R2. The highway business district requires 30 feet and a backyard variance of 15 feet for the R2 district, which requires 25 feet. Highway business has a setback of 0. He wishes to construct a storage garage that may be used for personal and commercial use. There is a motion to table this.
Make a motion to table.
Motion by Mr. McCardle. I'm sorry, recommendation to table. Motion by Mr. McCardle.
Second.
Second by Mr. Allen. Further discussion? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address this item? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hearing an action for Mitchell Sand Venture LLC, 4350 North Main Street. Mitchell Sand Venture LLC has applied for conditional use permit for quarry exploration extraction of minerals at the property located at 4350 North Main Street, legally described as southwest quarter, excluding lots H1, H2, West Highway, Section 3, Township 103 North, Range 60 West, Davis County, South Dakota. Property is zoned urban development.
Mayor and council members, the Planning Commission held a hearing at their last regular meeting and did recommend approval of this with some conditions. Basically, 3 of the conditions are the same as what was approved in 2006 when you approved it. One was that this is non-transferable. In other words, there's a change of ownership, the person would have to come in. And that's what's also triggering this one, is because it did change ownership, and so that's why this has come back before you. The other one is that they recommended is that the existing tree belt that's already there be maintained and that not be removed, which is already, like I said, is there. 2 is that the access that to the DOT still remains. And then one additional one that staff has recommended is that they will comply with all state licensing requirements and state laws, which they would have to they would have to go through DNR anyway. So, but it's probably good to note that as well in the minutes. So, the owners of the property are here. If you have any questions, or if there's anybody else, again, this was unanimous recommendation with those 4 conditions.
Okay, can you put the map up there, that overhead? I just want to confirm which tree belt
Correct.
they're talking about. So it's the,
You can kind of see that line that's through the middle. There's if you go down there, you see there's like an orange arrows that are pointed there.
yep,
So it's that UD, the other part is zone TWC,
See-
that part is the UD, that's what it's for.
So which tree belt are they saying?
It's right there in the line, it's in between there, right?
That one?
Right there.
Okay.
This one?
Yep. That was probably done in 2006. Yeah. So they just want to make sure that that stays, if that's what they're, and then you can kind of see the access to the highway
Yep.
there, and what was the other one I said? Tree belt access, and non-transferable.
Non-
Then if this changes ownership, they would have to come back again.
Let's do it again.
Okay.
There was no opposition?
No opposition,
Okay, I'll move to approve
With the,
with the conditions,
the
Okay.
4 conditions.
with the 4 conditions. Yes.
motion by Mr. Rice,
Anything? Anything? Okay.
second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Is there anybody in the audience wishes to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hearing in action for Sean and Jessica Anderson have applied for conditional use permit to operate a family residential child care center at 725 East 12th Avenue, legally described as Lot 4, Block 1, Northridge Addition, Davis County, South Dakota. Property is zoned R2, single family.
Just again, this application was presented to the Planning Commission at their last regular meeting and did recommend approval with 2 conditions. One, that it is not transferable, and then the second one is that if she ceases to operate a business there for 6 months or longer, then you would need a new application. She has passed a fire inspection, and there was no neighborhood opposition. I believe she's here if you have questions of her. So,
I'll move to approve with conditions.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one?
okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Reconvene the city council, entertain a motion for the Board of Adjustment to adjourn the city council reconvene in regular session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to request closure of the Fifth and Main parking lot from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. noon, and the parking spaces on the west side in front of the back 40 from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. for the Fire and Iron Event Poker Run on September 5. Mr. Croce.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Kyle Croce with Public Works Director. So initially, this was a request for the closures at the Fifth and Main parking lot and in front of the establishment, but I understand that they are not going to have the event, but they would still like the closure for gathering, and we don't have any objection to that.
We've done that before for her, haven't we? A year ago?
We did,
We closed the west side of Main
Street.
Street parking for her recently for motorcycle parking. for the
right,
event.
their third Thursdays, I think it's called.
Okay. Saturday.
So any issues clearing the Fifth and Main parking lot for a Saturday? Some people, I mean, park there, but,
No, there's no issues.
okay.
It is a holiday weekend, 3-day weekend, Memorial Day, or Labor Day weekend. I wish it was Memorial Day.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen. Well, start summer over. Who was the second? Second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve 4 15-minute parking spots for Exit Realty, 117 East 4th. Mr. Croce.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we were approached by Exit Realty to have 4 locations that there are 15-minute parking restricted, 2 in front of them on the 4th Avenue location in front of their doorway, and 2 on North Lawler in front of their location at 117 East 4th. We have no objection to that. There are 2 spaces on the north side of East 4th Ave as well that are restricted to 10-minute parking.
I do need to point that we did receive a
email from a business owner on Main Street wondering
Miss
why the...
Davidson, Melissa Davidson?
Yeah. Roberta.
Oh, Roberta, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
And I believe there's somebody here that would like to speak to this, if you'd want to come up.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, good evening. I'm Mike Larson. I own the property at 309 North Lawler, which is adjacent to the new Exit Realty building, the old post office building. I am absolutely opposed to converting those parking spaces to restricted parking spaces. I did, very late in the day, I found out about this very late, so I was able to put together something real quick and send it to the respective email addresses of the council members. If you haven't seen it, I do have copies here if you would like to look at what I sent you. My point is, the Exit Realty is asking for parking spaces to be converted that are very restricted. This is an extremely parking space short part of town. The west side of the North Lawler, the 300 block of North Lawler, has 5 remaining curbside parking spaces left, 5. 2 of those are in front of my building, the 309 North Lawler building, which sits a long ways to Lawler. 3 of them are in front of the old post office, and then 1 slightly past the building, but along the edge of their property. I bought that building, the 309 North Lawler building, actually from Clive Klingeman, I believe the husband of the Exit Realty person. Over the years now, about 14 years, we've invested over $300,000 worth of improvements into that building. It may not look like it on the outside, but there's been a huge amount of work done on the inside of that building. The water and wastewater from the street all the way in, electric from the alley all the way in to every outlet, faucet and switch in the building has been upgraded and replaced. There are now 4 what we call luxury loft apartments in the upper story of that building that are occupied. We have space to build out another one. Our parking is primarily along the street there at Lawler, which is, of course, as we said, in very short supply. The way the drawing was pictured on, I forget what the page number is, in the city minutes, if you drive by there and look at the way they've got that plotted out, they would actually take what now is 3 parking spaces and convert it to 2 15-minute parking spaces. So of the 5 remaining parking spaces along the curb there in that 300 block of North Lawler, that would leave only 2. They would convert 3 spaces into 2 15-minute spaces. And the only 2 remaining would be in the front of my building on that west side of North Lawler. And then, of course, I know the Brown Shoe Company folks have apartments above their building. I can't speak for them, but I would say that that's where their tenants park, is along 4th Avenue there. So there's a severe shortage of parking in that area of town. In my email, I noted that the 305 North Lawler building, it's one of my old building, my old office building for Larson Data Communications. There's no curb parking there because that's a private parking lot. And then because of the width of the parking lot, on-property parking lot of the old post office, that's where all the space goes. So there's only those 5 remaining spaces. The old post office building has 14 parking spaces as is. They have 6 in the rear parking lot and 8 in the front parking lot. You could count a couple more if you wanted to count that ramp that they have on the south side of their building. So they've got 14 now. They're asking for 3 of the 5 that are remaining on North Lawler. I oppose as vehemently as I can possibly state it. And I do have a copy of my email if anybody would choose to see it or refer to it.
I have received a number of calls on this. Started Saturday, and this is number with Mr. Larson here. It's number 6, and there was not one of them that wanted parking there because parking's at a premium in that area. And this is what I've heard, and now Exit Realty is not even here.
Yeah, I would, and when I first read it, my thought was, well, it's a little bit strange, and we've done some short-term parking for other places that have businesses where you drop something off or pick something up type of deal. And so I wanted to ask them, what purpose does a realtor have for a 15-minute short-term parking spot? And they're not here, so I don't know what the answer to that is, but I don't understand why a realty company needs a drop-off, quick change type parking spot other than just preventing people from parking there. I mean, across the street at Wells Fargo, they have 2 10-minute spots, and people use that to run up and go to the ATM. They have outside ATM and an inside ATM, and you can't go into the bank and do business today without an appointment. But when you could go into the bank, it was doubtful you could go in and do business in 10 minutes or less. So, and that's a bank with traffic and an ATM there and that type of stuff. So I'm struggling to come up with a reason why a realtor would need a 15-minute parking spot.
Well, yeah, and then, like I said, I'm not being here to answer questions, but the other thing is like, why 4, you know? Usually the ones that we get is maybe 1, sometimes 2, but they want 4. I'm confused a little bit about the same statement you just made, Steve, but also why even 4 spots at 15 minutes? It's even way more than what most businesses want for a one 15-minute drop-off, so.
Well, it sounds like they already got 14 parking spots around the building.
Mr. Larson's the 7th person I've had contact me today then, and that's what they say, that there's so many different apartment complexes down there that there's not enough parking right now the way it is. And if they got 14 spaces, why do they need 4 more is what I've been hearing. So I'd make a motion to deny it.
Yeah, we have a motion to deny.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Rice. Okay, further discussion? Anybody else in the audience wish to address this?
So I have one other note, just a
Come on up.
procedural thing, or administrative.
Come up, because
Oh, yes, sir.
it goes over the internet and
Sure.
TV, so.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to make it known that I did not receive a notice of any kind about this action pending, even though I'm an adjacent property owner, and I get the other city mail and so on, so I don't know what happened there, but I was not notified except by phone today. So, anyway, thank you.
Maybe, question for Kyle. So this is traffic commission type work.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Is that notice of neighbor and adjoining properties normal for traffic commission?
It is not, no.
It is not. So it'd be different than a conditional use or something like
Correct.
that, or a variance. Okay.
Okay, anybody else wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Agreement A 2020-32, Archaeological Consulting Services with Metcalf Archaeological Consultants for the Airport Master Plan. Approach.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a request for a contract for the archaeological consulting services that we need to get done prior to or including the master plan. To be included with the master plan, we contacted Metcalf Archaeological Consultants through our consultant Helms at the airport, and they had requested to do the services for $42,875. Helms believes that's within the estimated amount under the $50,000 that was anticipated, so we recommend approval.
Kyle, what are they actually looking for?
They actually, they're going to walk the grounds, and they're going to contact the local tribes to see if they have any interest as well. They'll do history on the site, but the big thing is, you know, if there's history from the tribes, they'll get a chance to look at the grounds to see if there is any interest or any history.
And this is just one part of our total list of things we have to do for the master plan to eventually decouple the runway, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm assuming this has to be done before we do any excavation to satisfy the state historic people.
Yes,
right?
sir, that's correct.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Barrington, second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Agreement A 2020-33 West Harmon Shoreline with Bros Engineering, Project 2020-40.
Mr. Mayor and Council, so this is an estimate for some of the lake restoration side slopes that we were looking at. I understand there was an $85,000 fund in a general fund, I believe, that was earmarked for lake shore restoration and side slope restoration. We want to get a design starting at the West End Bridge and going east around the south side of that lake. We understand that previous dredging for capacity was done in that area, took out a lot of the cattails in that area. We think that getting a design for a littoral shelf that would mimic on what is existing on the north side there of the lake would be beneficial, part of the lake cleanup as well. So we got in contact with Bros Engineering, and they gave us an estimate for the $12,655. They could start right away, and we could even look into getting a lot of this work done by the end of this year.
And that's money out of that 80,000, right?
It would be,
It-
yes.
The design piece
To
come out of-
clarify that, that's actually in the general fund reserve. At one point, council had earmarked funds for shoreline restoration, so you're still going to end up doing a supplemental appropriation in the future, but it would give them authority to proceed.
Right. And it was $80,000 that's set in there for the lake shore restoration, in the lake account.
I remember that. I thought it was more than that, but that's 85.
We'll take more.
We use some of it. Yeah, we
We
spent
use
some of it.
some.
We were doing, I think, like $50,000 a year when we put it together several years ago and used some of it already, and that was what's remaining, so.
All right. Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. Smith. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve expansion plan of Corn Palace Estate, 713 West Hanson.
Mayor, we can get the owner of the new facility on the phone momentarily. He wanted to join us at home.
Okay. Dial him in. Oh, sorry. I read it too fast. It's got high and low. Just trying to get it out.
David? Yes. Okay, David, I have you on our speakerphone with the city council. We're going to kind of preface this a little bit, and then I'll turn it over to you and answer any questions the council may have. Okay? That's great. Okay. Everybody here?
Yep. Is he coming across?
You might want to put the microphone down on the speaker so
Set,
it's
set,
carrying on.
Mr. Safe. You'll have to move it up if you have anything, Dan.
There you go.
Okay, Mayor and council members, this was presented to the planning committee. First of all, let me preface this. This is probably one of the first times in my time here that we've had a manufactured housing community for an expansion, but we do have it in the city code that if there is an expansion of a manufactured home community, that the plan has to be presented to the planning commission and ultimately the city council. So the planning commission did review this plan, and as you can see, there's some 4 slides that are in your packet but then Mr. Bridgman will kind of highlight for you. But there is a couple things, if you did notice in the planning commission minutes at their last regular meeting, that there's a couple things that they did would recommend that you perhaps consider is, if you are adopting this one, was that the drainage not be any increased other than what is already existing. And I'll have Mr. Bridgman talk to you about that. Also, that the roads that are there, or the streets that are already there, be treated with some type of dust-free material. And that also to explore the possibility of a fire hydrant on the south side of the property, and that might be later as the expansion does grow. So, again, this has to be approved by you as well. With that, Mr. Bridgman, I'll go ahead and let you talk about what your plan is, and then stand ready for questions.
Okay. So I'll move quickly through the package, and then if folks have any questions, certainly happy to answer them. Just looking at that first page, this just speaks to where I want to making modifications to the property. So it's in the western corners of the property and on the east side of the property is the area that I want to redevelop. These are spaces now where there are no mobile home lots. There are stick-built structures, and they generally have seen better days. There are 16 mobile home lots on the property. That's the area that's under the blue highlight, and no intention to make any changes there. Although I did purchase the property a couple months back, and we're going to clean it up a little bit. But the tenants there are all terrific, and be very happy. So I'm not going to make any changes to that specific location. If we flip to page 2, this gives the council a sense of the layout of the lots in each one of those areas that I'm going to redevelop. There's a requirement by the city that each lot be in excess of 5,000 square feet. So we've met that on each one of the lots. The one change that we'll have to make is there are a couple of mutual access easements on the property, one being along the border of the property and one in the northeast corner of the property. And I'll work with the adjacent property owners, which is the Cooper brothers, who I bought this property from. They're still the owners of the adjacent property. So I'll have to work with them to make sure that they are okay with the modifications to those mutual access easements. They don't impact their property. They will only impact the property for the park. There are 16 mobile home lots that we're looking to add, so that will bring the total number of mobile home lots on the property to 32. The property is 4.5 acres, so it gives you just about 7 mobile home lots per acre, which is a very, very comfortable number. I'll jump to page 3. One of the early meetings I had with the city was with regard to drainage in the area, which I understand is broadly drainage is just not an issue in the area. But the structures that are to be removed as a part of the redevelopment of the property, parking lot, and then 5 other structures equate to about 19,000 square feet or so. I intend and I commit to putting less than 19,000 square feet of mobile home rooftops on the property, just to give the council a sense of the size of mobile homes. The ones on the park today are about 750 square feet. So if I repeated that, I'd be adding about 12,000 square feet. So I'd be taking away 19,000 and adding back 12. That said, 750 square feet is, by today's standards, somewhat smaller home. I will likely be bringing in homes in the range of 1,000 square feet. So I think I'm going to add about 16,000 square feet for a net reduction in terms of impervious surface area of about 3,000 square feet. And then I'm going to jump to page 4, which speaks to some of the conditions that the Planning Commission had. Number 1, that being the road surface. The road surface today is gravel, principally gravel dirt. I'm going to provide for the road surface targeting a particular product, but at a minimum, I will be I will have a plan for Dustford Road surface. And then the other condition was, I believe mentioned already, it is exploring the need for fire hydrants to service the south side of the property. And that's what I wanted to cover, so if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to.
Just as a quick reminder, the council may recall about a couple, 3 months ago, you may recall a plat that subdivided this property, the part, the commercial part that stays on the west, on the east side of it. Yeah, so just as a refresher. So.
Hey, Dave, I've asked you, this is Dan Allen, and I asked you a question last week on the Planning Commission about the average age of the the mobile park or mobile homes that you want to bring in there. What would the oldest one that you would bring into this?
Well, I want the park to be attractive.
Sure.
And I want, I'm not going to bring in anything certainly more than 30 years old. I'm targeting 20 years old or newer. To be honest, I'm going to explore programs where I can bring in brand new homes. That is that's my number one goal. So if I can bring brand new homes and I can sell them, that's optimal for me. The issue is just the affordability, right? So these parks fall into the area of workforce housing. They have to be somewhat affordable. But I need to balance sort of the aesthetics of the park, the type of folks that the park appeals to, et cetera. So my goal is bring in new homes. If I can't, then I'll bring in homes that are 15, 20 years old. That'd be kind of the oldest home. And those are actually very attractive homes. I'm bringing in, there's one lot that's open today. I'm bringing in a roughly 1,200 square foot, 3-bath home. It's vinyl, it looks like a traditional stick-built ranch home. Vinyl sided, regular shingle roof. So it's a very attractive home. And those are the type of homes that, at a minimum, I would bring in. Again, the goal, bring in new.
This is Bob Everson, the mayor. Is it your intent to own all the trailer homes that are in here, or are you just renting space?
No. It's, the intent would be for the tenants to own the homes. Today, all of the homes are owned not by me, the park owner. It's much more beneficial to the park itself, to the community overall, to encourage home ownership.
Dave, this is Councilman Jeff Smith. I was just going to ask, where are you located out of, and are you going to have somebody oversee the park if you're not going to?
So I am located in New Jersey, and I have somebody overseeing the park. In terms of the construction, I will be out there during all of the construction. I have somebody oversee the park today, and I am in contact with that person on a near daily basis.
Other questions?
Yeah, I got this for our attorney, Dave, Justin Johnson. We put a condition on the council of no more than a 20-year-old home mobile. Can we do that here?
I don't think so,
Sure.
Dan. Unfortunately, the ordinance does not really build that process into this. It doesn't really contemplate having conditions placed on the approval. There's nothing in there currently about an age, and we're currently looking at the way that other communities are regulating or trying to put those regulations in place to set a maximum age or something along those lines. But even then, you still have your nuisance code that would be in place. So if there's a problem with the condition of any given trailer, we still have the ability to address it, whether it's a safety or an aesthetic situation, and not necessarily just the age of that structure.
Mr. Bridgman could choose to write that in as a covenant, if you will, couldn't he, on his own?
Yes, the property owner could certainly do that of their own accord. But as far as us implementing something like that, it's probably something we'd have to change our ordinance to do.
Because in my ward, I have 4 trailer courts in my ward, and I hear a lot about what they look like. And a lot of them don't look very good. So, I mean, there's a lot of, what's that? That was in my ward, too. So, yeah, it'd be nice, because when I go home at night, I go right by there, and Ponderosa, the ones you go by there, and I mean, on the outside, they look good, they look nice. And I turn the corner and go down another one, and it doesn't look so good, so. I think we should try to get something that presentable to the community, so it looks good.
So you could ask him to put that in, but you can't require him to do it.
Dave, would you put that in for the council?
I'm happy to limit it to homes of a certain age. Just full disclosure, there are homes that are mid-90s built that are very attractive, extremely attractive. So if you want to sort of bound me to something, if it's okay, I would be happy to be bound by homes that are no older than 25 years old. I can assure you, you don't know me, but I can assure you the park is going to look a lot better in about 3 years' time than it looks today. And I think everybody on that council is going to be proud of it. But, if you allow me to go upwards of 25 years, I can be bound by that. I don't want to, part of it is there are homes in the late 90s are very nice, very attractive, very modern looking, and they're affordable to individuals.
I could go along with the 25 years.
Dan, I don't agree with you, Dan. A neighbor of mine has a 1960 Corvette. That's beautiful. Another neighbor has a 1972 pickup, rusted out. Which would you rather have? No, I mean, just age by itself should not be a consideration. We have the nuisance fellow that can address problems if there are some, but just because some of us are older than others doesn't mean we should be swept away.
Hey, careful now, you're treading on.
I'm catching up to you. Anyway, if you would put the 25 years in there, I'd have no problem, but it's the council's.
I'm happy. I'm not likely to purchase anything over 25 years anyway. That wouldn't be my intent. Again, my intent is new. But again, it's going to be dependent on the demand. So I'm going to do some testing and see what that demand is, and that'll be the parameter. But I'm more than happy to commit to bringing homes in that are no older than 25 years old.
Okay.
So you have a maintenance man that's kind of in charge of making sure everything looks good around the park, or?
Well, I have folks that I have separate contractors for different elements. So I have somebody that's starting to take care of the. I have folks that have a landscaper that takes care of the property, and then I've got somebody who lives in the park who oversees just kind of like an eye out on the day-to-day. Part of that oversight is we get videos sent to us regularly on what's going on in the park. We monitor it that way. And then all of the tenants have a direct line to me.
And Justin, I just want to make sure, so if we have nothing older than 25 years, that's just like a request that we have in there that's not binding, or it doesn't allow us to do anything if there's one that's 27 years old?
Right, it wouldn't be something that we would enforce.
Okay.
So if you can't enforce it.
Can't, but we
Sure.
could have it as part of the minutes of the request of the approval
Right, you'd have to use nuisance to enforce it.
to enforce it.
Move to approve.
Okay. With
the request.
Motion by Mr. Allen,
second,
second by Mr.
with
Ray.
the request of the age of
25 years.
25 years.
Okay.
And plus the other ones that the planning commission.
Plus
recommend-
the others at the planning commission, the dust and the drainage and
And the possible fire hydrant.
the fire hydrant that.
Possible.
We just did work in that area.
Yeah. It may or may not be necessary, but we
Okay.
just
Should
want to
be good
explore.
pressure out there.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else wish to address this?
No, but if it goes over real good, maybe there's some other ones you'd like to buy. As Kevin noted too. Right by Hitchcock.
Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Bridgman.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I hope you heard pass, so. Okay, action to award bid for rock salt project, supply project 2020-27. Mr. Schrader.
Joe Schrader, city engineer. The city's yearly rock salt bid was opened on August 5th, 2020 in Council Hall Chambers at 1:30. Bids were requested for an estimated 700 tons of material at a unit price per ton. 3 bids were received. Low bid was by Blackstrap Inc. for $70.90 per ton, or a total bid of $49,630. 2019's price was $78.58, so we were considerably lower than last year. And we do recommend approving the bid to Blackstrap Inc.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion?
One question, Joe, is the tonnage, there's 700 we had last year, and we're asking for 700 again this year, and 700 worked out pretty well last year.
Yep, we still have some on hand from last year, but we feel it's a safe number to get us through the winter season.
Unless it starts next week. Further comments? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve resolution R 2020-53, a plot of DW Lot G, a subdivision of South of Dakota Wesleyan University campus. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. I apologize for that. Action to reject bid on Loma Linda Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project 2020-30.
Joe Schrader, city engineer. Bids were opened on August 5th, 2020 in City Hall Council Chambers at 1:30 for the Loma Linda Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. One bid was received by H&W Contracting. It was roughly $40,000 over my estimate, and I am recommending rejection of the bid with the intention that we will rebid later this winter. Then we'll extend the completion date to August 1st, 2021.
Move to reject.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion?
Were you just off on estimate, or we think bidding time is bad, or
I think my numbers were good.
they had way higher mobilization, but.
Right. I talked to a couple contractors that had a window for the end of the year, so I opened it up, and a couple of them had a bad basically a bad last month, so they decided not to bid it.
Okay.
And ideally, this project
I mean,
would
I'm
work
just-
out well for, say, someone who gets East Central Phase 2. They could add it into their
Yeah.
schedule and move forward, so we'll wait till after that project bids, and then we'll bid this project again.
Okay.
In all likelihood, they figured out they were the only bidder and were able to put a premium in.
It's something that we've identified that needs to be done, and I'm just a little disappointed we can't move forward, but.
You always like to get multiple bidders, that helps.
Yeah,
but-
and that's why I was wondering, so are we facing something maybe unknown or something, but if it's just maybe bad timing, then we can see what we get. Okay.
I don't think anything's good timing the rest of this year. Okay, we have a motion and a second to reject. Further discussion? Nobody in the audience, anybody in the audience want to address this? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve resolution R 2020-53, a plot of DW Lot G, a subdivision at Dakota West University campus, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota.
Mayor and council members, this plat was presented to the council, or to the planning commission at their last meeting, and basically what this is doing is platting out the legal description for the McGovern Library. What they've have been told is that you probably want to start identifying some of the buildings for lots of different reasons. One is like obviously insurance, also if donors and so forth, so because then they have a legal description to attach to and so forth, and inventory purposes and lots of other reasons why they want to do that. So I've been told by DW we may have some other ones coming in. So you may recall, I think we did the business center, it might be, yeah. So that's the reason why some of these just need to be identified separate. So. Or financing too, another reason too.
Okay, move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Second by Mr. Sabers. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve resolution 2020-54, a plat of Lot 8G, Block 7 of Westwood First Edition, a subdivision of southwest quarter of Section 16, Township 103 North, Range 60 West of the 5th Prime Meridian, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota.
Again, this plat was presented to the Planning Commission and did recommend approval. As you can see on the aerial, it's just basically right next, and another, they want to do another extension to the building that's to the west, so.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve resolution R 2020-55, a plat of lots 9A and 9B, a subdivision of lot 9 of Marsden's Addition in the southwest half of the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, Section 5, Township 103 North, Range 60 West of the 5th Prime Meridian, Davis County, South Dakota.
Mayor and council, this was also presented to the Planning Commission as well as to the, my understanding is the County Planning Commission and the County Commissioners have also approved this because this is just outside the city limits. Basically, my understanding is the two parties wish to subdivide that larger parcel into two to have two separate, you know, you would have two homes on there as well. So they would have an access off of Harmon on the first one and then maintain the access off the other one on Harmon to the south. So. The parties are here if you do have questions of them. Basically, if you can see where the plat just subdivides them in two. So you can kind of see where the second home, if you saw in the aerial, there's two different properties there.
And the Planning Commission did not have a problem?
No, no. As you can kind of see, there's a second, the large white building, and then there's the home on the one side, so they would have a line that cut through there. Both of them have living quarters. Well, that one does have living quarters, I understand, so. They're here, or we're here. Yeah, they're here.
Motion to approve.
Did I
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Sabers. Further
miss
discussion?
anything? Okay.
Did you want to talk? Okay. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. First reading of ordinance O 2020-10, an ordinance that changes the zoning district classification of the real property legally described as the west 56 feet of lot, outlot 7, number 7A, southwest quarter, section 15, township 103 North, range 60 West, city of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, from R2, single-family residential, to HB, highway-oriented business districts.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this relates to the variance that you just tabled in the previously. Planning Commission did hold a hearing on this request. And you probably noticed the reason why the setbacks will vary based off of what the zoning change, if this does get rezoned. And today is before you first reading. If you look at the property, you would see that it's kind of sandwiched in between the Eden apartment parking lot, and there's a house right there off of 15th. The Planning Commission did hold a hearing, and after much discussion, did decide, or recommend that this property be rezoned to Highway Business District, which is similar to what's right to the north of it, the car wash and kind of kitty corner is Lewis Drug and so forth. So, again, that's what their recommendation is. This is first reading, so.
And since it's first reading, we'd have a second reading.
Correct.
If and when we want to do that, and we more than likely would have information on the drainage about
Correct.
the possible proposal of storage building.
Correct, right. I think this will probably
So
proceed, when the variance will come back to you at the next
we wouldn't
meeting.
have to go through, depending on what comes back or what
Correct.
other comments we get, that type of stuff, right?
Correct,
So this
correct.
could,
This is just kind of
Just
keeping the
set
one
it-
step
set it
going.
up?
Yeah.
okay, I'll move approval of the first reading of 2020-10.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We're adjourned.
Well, the audience.